Part-time Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs of Kenya, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, colleagues, and friends. It is an honour to welcome you to Nairobi for the 5th International Conference on the Safe Schools Declaration. I am deeply grateful to the Government of Kenya, to our co-hosts, and to all of you for your leadership and your presence. We are gathered here today to build on previous conferences hosted by Norway, Argentina, Spain, and Nigeria, to reflect on progress made, to share challenges and best practices, and to align on collective strategies and the way forward to protect education in conflict. We meet here at a moment when the world urgently needs renewed resolve to protect education from attack. Across the world, we increasingly see schools destroyed, students and teachers killed, access to learning threatened, and entire education systems destabilized and shut down by conflict. Children, and in particular girls, are disproportionately harmed and are navigating wars they did not choose while still striving to learn, to grow, and to hope. Their courage calls us to action, and their futures in part depend on the choices that we make here. The most recent data from the 2025 Children in Armed Conflict report includes 41,370 incidents, the highest number of grave violations against children in armed conflict since the inception of the mandate almost 30 years ago, and a 25% increase compared to the previous year. Most grave violations showed an increase, including, as we have already heard here this morning, a shocking 44% increase in verified reports of attacks on schools and a 34% increase in rape and other forms of sexual violence. Meanwhile, respect for humanitarian principles is eroding, and we see this most grievously in attacks on education and other violations against children. The news and statistics can feel overwhelming. However, simultaneously, committed partners continue their work to protect education despite global and local challenges. Indeed, they are spurred on by them. This year marks 10 years since the Safe Schools Declaration was launched, and what began with 37 pioneering states in Oslo has become a global community of 122 governments committed to making learning safe. It has been a fruitful journey together, and over the past decade, we have seen real progress. Military doctrines and training increasingly recognize the need to protect schools, including from military use, and monitoring and reporting on attacks on education has expanded, and national laws, policies, and practices have been strengthened. This is meaningful progress. But anniversaries are not only moments to celebrate how far we have come, they are also moments to recommit to how far we still must go. For nearly 15 years, the Global Coalition to Protect Education from Attack has worked to confront the reality of attacks on education. Our research, advocacy, and implementation support have been built through state-led and collective action, and it has been propelled by human rights-driven governments and people with conviction, expertise, and a lot of passion. I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge one of the representatives of Norway who is here with us today, a relentless advocate whose diplomatic skill and belief in the power of education were instrumental in establishing and strengthening the Safe Schools Declaration. Katrina Anderson's unwavering commitment has done much to protect children caught in armed conflict, and as a representative of Norway, she is the embodiment of being a champion for safe schools. We also take a moment to remember Professor Stephen Haynes, who passed away last month. His vision and scholarship helped to articulate the principle that schools and universities must never be militarized. His contribution to the development of the guidelines for protecting schools and universities from military use during armed conflict remain a cornerstone of our global efforts to keep learning spaces safe, and his legacy endures in his scholarship and in our gratitude. These remarkable individuals and many more that have contributed to these causes, very many of whom we are lucky to share this space with today, remind us that progress relies not only on coalitions and political agreements, but on dedicated individuals who see what is possible and work tirelessly to make it real. This conference is unlike any of the previous Safe Schools Declaration conferences, and as I look around, I want to acknowledge that never before have we had so many affected states so meaningfully represented. Much of the content of the sessions and the solutions that we will be showcasing are the result of the work of partners involved with the state-led implementation network. The design of these sessions and this work has been collaborative, working closely with champion states, with GCPEA members and partners. And the participation of children and youth leaders, representatives, is a cause of celebration. I know that we're all very impressed. It is also a humbling reminder of how high the stakes are. This conference is an opportunity to create change. This is the time for new endorsements and a critical assessment of what's needed to realise the Safe Schools Declaration on the ground. We must deepen our engagement, strengthen cooperation across sectors, and build on commitments to date. This is a moment to be ambitious, to identify where protection is weakest and where progress can be accelerated. It is a moment to move from broad support to concrete action. We must prioritise actionable implementation strategies, strengthen accountability at a time of growing impunity, and increase monitoring at a time when funding and support is being slashed. While we are extremely fortunate to have more robust youth and survivor inclusion than ever before at a Safe Schools conference, it is not enough, and we must all do more. Children and families consistently rate education as a top priority during humanitarian crises, and this is the moment to listen to them and to that plea. To young people, to teachers, to communities, and to those who live with consequences of war, yet still believe in the transformative power of education. GCPEA stands ready to work with every government and every partner represented here. Lasting progress depends on what all of us choose to do, not only in declarations, but in policy, in practice, and in the sustained work of implementation. Let's make these 2 days together matter, both through what we commit to and what we deliver. Let us leave no ambiguity in our message to the world. Schools will not be battlefields, students will not be targets, and education will not be sacrificed to conflict. Thank you.